Hi, everybody. I had a few minutes. I thought that I might go ahead and just go live and chat with you guys. Uh, Edmundo Alarcon, I've been watching for years. I pray, please God. Really? How long have you been watching exactly? Like, how many years? And where are you from? Put it in the chat. And who else is here? Got 4 people so far. Um, just wanted to get on, talk a little bit about what's going on with Israel in the Middle East and just whatever else you guys want to talk about. Drink some Coke. Need to get some more though. Running out. Got 6 people. Who all is here? Put it in the chat. Where you're from. How long you've been watching. Seems like people are busy today. I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like people are busy today. I don't know how many people are going to, excuse me, jump on. It's the last day of the month, the 31st. There aren't any holidays going on right now. I want to wait till more people jump on before I get into the main topic I want to talk about. Am James, Tooele, Utah. I think I started watching last May-ish. That's good. I mean, I've been doing this for, I'm basically at a year and a half at this point, or I mean 2 years and a half at this point. So, you know, we've covered so many different things on the channel, and there's a lot of times I'll do videos and there'll be new people that join and they don't realize that I've already covered certain things, and to a certain extent I go back and kind of like redo some of the stuff I've already talked about, but it's just there's just so much. There's a lot that I did in the beginning that I haven't touched recently. I'm thinking about just like going back and seeing what I've already done videos about, redo them, add any new information if I have any new information. So, and I need to get working on these playlists. I'm trying to like build up these playlists. Excuse me. Man, there are only 6 people. What is going on? Normally by now I have a lot more people. Oh, I don't know. Maybe we won't be doing a live stream. Edmundo Alarcon, California, about a year and a half. This place is in absolute hell. What, my channel? Or what are you referring to? Edmundo, what's the closest temple to where you are? Or what's the last temple that you went to? Last temple I went to was the Kansas City Temple. That's me. Bob D, what do you think will happen to children under the age of accountability whose parents are living a telestial life when the Savior comes? That is a really good question. I do not know. Um, I mean, they're not going to be punished along with their parents. You know, if they're under the age of accountability. I would assume that maybe there will be a lot of adoptions at the first part of the millennium. I do know that the Lord has some kind of plan in place, but the only thing that I can think of is maybe those children will be adopted, probably by their closest kin, I would assume. And if they don't have any, then just wherever they are geographically, whatever ward they fall in, maybe bishops will be active in taking care of kids that are left behind. I have no idea. That's like something to think about. You know, you may be asked in the beginning of the millennium to adopt some children, take people in that now no longer have any. I don't know. Got 13 now. I'm feeling like I might just not do this stream. For some reason, people aren't joining right now. Does anybody have any questions? Anything that you want to talk about? Anything from a recent video that I did, or any video that I've done? Carrie Cottrell, with all the bad happening in the world right now, I'm happy. Uh, excuse me. The emoji thing is like right, like I'm on OBS and the emoji thing is right in front of the next word. I'm happy I belong to the church. Yeah, definitely. I think right now is a pretty scary time if you don't have faith, and if you're not a member of the church. Even if you're part of another church, um, you may not have the same comfort that we have. Carrie Cottrell, how long do you think Adam and Eve were in the Garden of Eden? Oh, before they were cast out? I do not know. I don't have an opinion about that. I know that there's people that like get into the whole like evolution debate and dinosaurs, and um, do this whole thing with like, they were there for, a long time, thousands of years, or something like that. And that explains dinosaurs. I think I've heard that before. I don't know. How long do you think that they were there? What's your opinion? Or if you have any like authoritative sources, what do you know? 15 people. Well, I wanted to talk about what's going on. Last I checked, the U.S. hasn't struck any Iranian targets or any Iranian-backed militias, but you know, I was kind of waiting until something actually happens and then do a video about it. But right now we're just waiting, and it's kind of nerve-wracking. Things keep like ratcheting up in the Middle East. So just as a recap, this is like what I've been following. First, you had October 7th that took place. And that's what got everything rolling, right? Hamas attacked Israel. Israel is now conducting a ground invasion of Gaza. They're destroying all of Hamas. And we haven't seen the end of that yet. What I do know, in fact, there's like an article that came out, I think just yesterday. I'm going to see if I can find it really quick. It's something like half of all Gazan buildings are destroyed or something like that. Have you seen that? This is from BBC, and it is from yesterday. At least half of Gaza's buildings damaged or destroyed, new analysis shows. And I don't think that's an exaggeration based on all the photos that I've seen, because I'm on X pretty often, and there's a lot of videos and pictures coming out of there. Of course, I guess it'd be pictures and photos where there's action happening, so you'd expect to see that kind of stuff, but it doesn't look good. A lot of people have lost their homes. Now, I personally feel that Israel was completely justified in launching this campaign and doing what it's doing. I can't go into all like the little details. Maybe there's things they could be doing better. I have no idea. But just like in general, I personally think that they're justified in doing what they're doing. But what I do know is there are a lot of innocent people that are having their lives turned upside down. And this is just one way that they don't have a home to go back to. Don't know what's going to happen. There's essentially a big humanitarian disaster that's taking place right now, and it's very unclear what the aftermath is going to be. So you have that, right? And then shortly after Hezbollah joined in and they started firing rockets, but they've been doing this like low intensity, um, low intensity attacks against Israel, but that has been escalating. And at least within like the last week or two, the defense minister of Israel, Yoav Gallant, he's said a couple times, he's like spoken in a way that it's like all but certain that Israel is going to escalate things with Hezbollah in the north, and that war is probably going to break out there because they've evacuated. I can't remember how big of an area. I think 5 kilometers, maybe it's 10. Um, all towns within 5 or 10 kilometers or whatever it is within the border from the border of Lebanon, they've all been evacuated. And at some point, these people need to go back home and resume their lives. And so, if Hezbollah doesn't stop, then Israel's going to have to make them stop. So it feels like every day that goes by, we're getting closer and closer to that point where full-scale war breaks out between Israel and Hezbollah. And at that point, I guess my question is, are they going to make, because whenever they've talked about like Hezbollah, you better stop. If you don't stop, if we have to attack you, we're going to send Lebanon back to the Stone Age. And what they mean is that Lebanon's not doing very well economically. And so they really can't afford for Israel to do that at all. And so there would be huge consequences for Hezbollah, not just from the military action that's taken, but from the people and their country being, brought down because of, any new conflict. So it seems to me like that is like all but certain. I could be wrong. And then, of course, this entire time you've had these different Iran-backed militias that have been attacking U.S. installations across the Middle East. We have this most recent one. I'll talk about that in a minute, but that's been going on. There's been, I believe, in the hundreds of attacks on U.S. Troops and installations across the Middle East and Syria, Iraq primarily, and I think in Jordan too. I can't remember if this most recent one, if it was in Jordan. I don't think so. But anyway, then you had the Houthis in Yemen that started attacking commercial ships passing through the Red Sea, and they had been doing that. And then finally, the world had enough, and the U.S. and the U.K. Organized an operation, a campaign to conduct airstrikes against the Houthis, and that's still going on. That was like another escalation. And now we have this most recent thing where we had the 3 U.S. soldiers that died from a drone strike. And right now, I don't believe it's happened yet. Let me just double check. Iran. I'll just search Iran, go to news. The first thing that comes up, New York Times, widening Mideast crisis. Iran says it doesn't want war as U.S. weighs response. Yeah, it doesn't look like they've started any operations against Iran or their proxies yet. The last that I checked is that most likely these strikes or this response is going to take place over several days. So, and there's like this big, it's difficult. It's difficult. The thing that like the debate that's taken place or that has taken place is, how hard does the U.S. strike back? Because you can't just let it go unpunished, right? Because that'll invite more attacks. The enemies of the United States and Israel will view the United States as weak. They already know that Joe Biden is, he is who he is, and he's not a hawkish person. They know his politics. And so just that by itself, they probably feel more emboldened than if it was somebody else. Someone that was like a Republican. But so we already have that going against us. But if the U.S. doesn't strike hard enough, then it's just going to invite more, obviously. But if the U.S. strikes too hard, then it could turn into a full-blown war with Iran. And Iran has made its threats that if the United States strikes Iran, I don't know if they just mean strike inside the borders of Iran or if they're talking about any Iranian assets outside of Iran. I'd have to double check on that, but that if the U.S. does that, then they're going to respond. And I saw one report that said that they would actually attack. They themselves would directly attack U.S. forces from Iran, not through their proxies. So, just I don't know. It's going to be an interesting. It's going to be an interesting couple days here, I think. Give me just 1 second. Is the stream okay? It says that the stream's bit rate is this, and it's lower than the recommended rate. Is the video choppy or the audio? Put it in the chat if it is. But where do I change it? Stream settings. I'm not finding anywhere where I can change it or do anything about it unless it's in OBS. Carrie Cottrell says it's fine for me. Okay, good. Kylon Rick says you sound good. Kylon, before that, Kylon Rick said, how bad do you think it'll get in the U.S. before Christ's return? Nuclear fallout, civil war, saints being persecuted. I think sometimes our ideas are dramatic, but curious of your thoughts. I don't know. I don't really have a prediction. If those things happened, I wouldn't be surprised. But civil war, I feel like it would take a lot to get to that point. Not saying that it's not impossible, but what would a war like that look like? Who would be the different sides? What would be the territory? Would it be, the heartland versus the coasts? Is that how it would be? You'd have Missouri and Kansas and Texas and, the states in the center against the coastal states like New York and the West Coast and all that. I have no idea. I don't know what a civil war in the United States these days would look like. When it comes to nuclear war, I mean, yeah, it's possible that the United States gets struck, but I don't know how likely that is. But I feel like I said in a recent video, it's almost like a movie where in a movie, there's like this big, weapon or something that you expect to be used at some point, and definitely by the time of the climax of the movie. And it feels like, ever since World War II, nuclear weapons are that thing. They've been used the 2 times in Japan, but I feel like just the way that things are going to go, at some point there is going to be another nuclear bomb. Here in the United States, I don't know. If that happened, oh my gosh. If anybody attacked the United States, then they better be ready for the consequences, or they better have a very, very good plan. I watched a really interesting video one time that was talking about what would happen if nuclear war broke out between the US and Russia, and how, if I remember right, they were saying that first, like the first targets would not be cities, like populated cities. They'd be military. Well, maybe there's like some population around there, but like military installations in the opponent's silos or wherever they house their nuclear bombs. I think that was the first stage, and then if it kept escalating, then it would come down to like hitting major cities. So I don't know. DNC 8488 looking good here. Jordan Depenimus, Matthew 1250. Okay, whatever. Jordan, I'm gonna have to ask you to not bring that up anymore. Like, I'm not about this whole idea, and at this point, I feel like you're just trolling me. So, we're getting close to where I'm just going to block you if you keep bringing that up. So we got 33 people in here. Yeah. I'm more of the opinion that things are not going to be that dramatic. And the reason why is because I think if they were, then it'd be that much more obvious that the second coming is going to happen. Maybe even for people that aren't religious but have some knowledge of the last days and the end times, it may be too obvious for them, like, oh my gosh, we're in the end times. Because you look at these different articles that are written whenever there's a disaster, and it's pretty common to read articles where they use the word apocalypse or last days when they're describing what a particular scene looks like. For example, when there was all the smoke over New York City from the Canadian wildfires. So it could be, I don't know, but I feel like it's more going to be the type of thing where all of a sudden it's here and everyone's going to be like, wait, what? Where you're still going to have all the prophecies play out, but it's going to be done in natural ways and in ways that, unless you're looking and you know what you're looking at, you're going to fail to see that it's a prophecy that's being fulfilled. That's why with this war in Israel, even though right now, it hasn't like escalated like really, really, really fast. And so I think things were really intense at the beginning of the war because nobody really knew how quickly things would or could escalate. And it's been kind of just, Israel's made steady progress and they're achieving their military goals in Gaza. And things are escalating in the region. So I think a lot of people, when they're thinking about it, they're more thinking about the politics of it. You have these people that take the different sides and demonize each other and go crazy. But if it was like this big mass, like if like World War III came out of that, I feel like it would put the second coming on a lot of people's radars. I could be wrong, I don't know, but just like when I read the scriptures, I feel like and based on everything that we've read from prophets and apostles, it seems like it's going to come as a thief in the night. Like people are not going to be expecting it. Even within our own church, you have the 5 wise and the 5 foolish virgins, the ones that aren't ready. They weren't doing what they were supposed to be doing. And then they're just caught off guard because they don't know when the bride comes. So that's my frame of mind. I don't know. Maybe it will be all big and dramatic. And even with things being really dramatic, maybe there's still going to be, most people are still not going to be thinking about the second coming, and it's not going to wake them up. I don't know. Tammy Christensen, so the law will go forth from Zion and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. What significance do you think that has regarding the political versus religious centers and how the church/kingdom will run? Well, I feel like I've read about that before, maybe not so much on the channel, just in my own personal study. But I think it's just that. I think that the spiritual things will be coming out of Old Jerusalem, and then the law will come out of New Jerusalem. In one sense, this is like one of those things where I know that I've read that it's almost like there's like multiple fulfillments, because I know I've read General Conference talks that have said that currently the law is going out of the land of New Jerusalem, Zion, because of the United States, and exporting the Constitution across the world. I'd have to find that talk or talks. There may be, but I know I've like read that before. But it seems like when Christ's kingdom is fully implemented, obviously it's going to be more tangible than just that. It's going to be like actual laws are going to be, created and passed in New Jerusalem. We've looked into the fact that the kingdom of God seems like it's going to be, seems like it's going to be a type of like a theocratic republic where you still have people that vote. Like ultimately Christ will be king, but there's still going to be like a similar government to what we have now, where laws are proposed, like bills are proposed, and then the legislative body votes on it. And I don't know if like Christ would be the ultimate one that votes on it or how it would work. But whatever the case, it seems like actual laws are going to come in the millennium from New Jerusalem, and then more like spiritual things will come from Old Jerusalem. That's my best understanding. Maybe I'll do a video about it. Catch the buzz. You're right, Jared. It can't be too obvious. Well, I mean, maybe not. Maybe I am wrong. I don't know. Because if you ignore the rest of the world, just ignore the rest of the world and just look at our church. It's also supposed to be unexpected for us to an extent. For the righteous, those that take church seriously, they're supposed to be watching for the signs of the times so that they can know the approximate time. Whereas the rest of the church are just kind of asleep. You have the tares that are in the church, or people that are just foolish. They're not, being involved enough in church or in their personal gospel study. And so it's not just for like the world that he's supposed to come as a thief in the night. It's supposed to be for us too, even the righteous to a certain extent, although the righteous will be much more prepared and on alert. And so that's one issue that I have with, for example, the 10 lost tribes. I'm going with what recent church leaders have said about the 10 lost tribes. And I know not everybody accepts that, but recent church leaders have talked against the idea of the 10 lost tribes. And I think it makes sense, because if all of a sudden you had a hidden civilization come out from the middle of the earth or come from outer space, our church would know for sure. It'd be like, oh my gosh, this is really happening. It'd be like really, really obvious, even for people that are maybe not that spiritual, them finding out like, oh my gosh, this whole time I didn't think that this was real, but look, and the whole world can see it. And I feel like it would rob people of their exercising their faith. I could be wrong, but I feel like for our church, something like that would be, it would take away the surprise of the second coming, and it would make it too obvious. I could be wrong though. David Swenson, 6 angels sounds trumpet March 7th, 5 months. I don't know. I don't get too much into the angels. Like, I'm more of the opinion that they're just generically telling you the disasters and things that are going to happen on the earth in the lead up to the second coming, rather than being in actual sequence. But I could be wrong. So that's just the way that I think about it. David Swenson, one woe is passed on March 7th, Revelation 9. Okay. Phil and Molly awaits. I'm excited for General Conference coming up, especially with the eclipse happening. Yeah, I am too. I'm excited for that. I'm also excited for President Nelson's next social media post to see if he continues doing this, repeating things 7 times. I mean, it may not be his next one. It depends on how many posts he does in February, but it'll be interesting to see if he does that for February and for March. And then nothing's been said about this General Conference like what was said before the April 2020 General Conference, where he was like, everybody prepare for this General Conference. But that doesn't mean that it's not going to be a big General Conference. Excuse me. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be interesting. And, we still have some time. So today's the 31st of January. So we have February and March and then conference. So within 2 months, there's a lot of things that could happen. We have no guarantee that President Nelson will make it to the next conference, which that would be shocking. And I don't know, we'd probably have a lot to talk about at that point. Or President Holland, or, anything could happen as far as that goes. We don't know what's going to happen in the world. It's weird for me to think that this war in Israel, it's been going on for October, November, December, and January. So almost 4 months, and only 4 months. And so we have 2 more months to go before General Conference, and who knows what the war is going to look like at that point, or if it will have escalated uh, much more than where we're at right now. Maybe at that point it'll be a full blown third world war. I have no idea. There's so much that could happen. I was thinking about like what's happened this month, and I don't know. I don't know if it's just like I haven't been doing things the way that I usually do, there doesn't seem to have been like really big things that have happened this month. It started with that earthquake and tsunami in Japan. There's been flooding, and I've kind of like stepped away from trying to track all the flooding because it's just too hard. It's too hard. I don't think I'm going to do that anymore. I'm just going to try and pay attention to like big things that happen. Um, can you guys think of any big things that have happened this month in January? I don't know I can put my finger on any one big thing so far. Tactic planner. I think it will come as a thief for most, but so few now are even able to effectively discern, as President Nelson has stated, is so important. That's true. Yeah, the world and unfortunately the church just becomes more and more um, desensitized to the spirit. So yeah. Lorraine Moore, love your cowboy hat. Oh, thank you. I love how you are positive about what might happen. We do need to or keep things in perspective. Where did you get your info on when we maybe get our memory back of premortal life? Me? Did I ever say that we would? I don't. That's something that I don't know. I don't remember talking about that. But when it comes to like getting our memory back from the premortal life, this is an assumption. I have nothing to back this up. I would assume once you're resurrected, because at that point your mortal life is over, your probation, and so there's no need for the veil anymore. I don't think that you get your memory back in the spirit world because you're still in probation during that time as well. So it makes sense to me that it would be once you're resurrected, but I can't point to anything. I'm starting to buy cowboy hats the way that some women buy shoes. I really like cowboy hats. It's fun. I like it, and I like this one. I think this is awesome. It's my favorite. Like right now, it's still cold outside, so if I was outside, I'd wear a felt hat. Otherwise, I'd look really dumb. But like when it gets warm, that's when you switch over to the straw. Excuse me, to the straw hats, and that's what this is. Um, here's my. This is my felt one. It's felt. It's a Stetson. It's nice. I like this one too, but I really like this one. I'll probably buy some more by the end of the year, unless the second coming has happened, and then who knows, what I'll have. Okay. Mrs. Chef Yoda, hello. Tammy Christensen, maybe a stake is a city, high council is the city council, etc. I really feel that the church is preparing to care for / minister to / govern all the good people of the earth that flee to us for safety. Yeah. Yeah, I have so many questions about how the political kingdom is going to be rolled out. The new there's going to be a new economic system at some point. And like I said, I think that things will happen in a more natural way. Like Christ coming, that's like a huge thing. But I think that changing from one system to another, there's probably going to be some kind of transition plan. Or I don't know, maybe it'll just be cold turkey. But my guess is that there's going to be a transition. And I don't know. So many questions. Phil and Molly awaits, and his 100th birthday. Yeah, President Nelson's 100th birthday is going to be this year, September 9th. So that's another thing to think about. I'll say it again. I really feel like there's something to his age because he brings it up a lot and it's caught a lot of attention. You know, people, it's on people's minds. It feels like there's a reason for that. You know, and then you take that with the fact that he talks about the second coming so much and everything. It feels like there's something to that. Oh, Joni's here. Oh, hi. I missed the notification you are live. I almost called you 30 minutes ago to see how you're doing. Hope you're doing good. Well, let's talk in a little bit because I'm going to be running some errands. And so I'll call you like once we're somewhere where I can talk, if you can talk. Tactic planner. I'm excited to see General Conference and the Eclipse right after it ends. Yeah, me too. It's we've been waiting for this for a long time. You know, at least I'm sure a lot of us have. It's, almost 7 years we've been waiting, and don't know what's going to happen. Maybe something will happen before. Maybe something will happen on the day of. Maybe something will happen after. But it definitely seems significant. I'm gonna do this. Look, hold on. Let me pull it up. Because for some reason people didn't watch this. Not very many people watched this video that I did about the eclipses. I did a new spreadsheet. Let me switch the thing here. No, let's do window. Okay, good. Okay, so what I wanted to do, put a yes if you saw the video where I talked about this new spreadsheet, and put a no if you didn't. I'd be interested to see that. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to like figure out all the significant church sites and when they would experience eclipses, because on timeanddate.com, you can pick any location and it'll tell you the eclipses that location will experience from the year 1900 all the way to the year 2199. And so it turns out, and I didn't know this until I did this exercise, that the church has had 7 headquarters. Fayette was the first one. That's where the church was organized. Kirtland was the second. Hiram, Ohio was the third. Far West, Missouri was the fourth. And then after that, Nauvoo was the fifth. Winter Quarters was the sixth. And Salt Lake is currently church headquarters, and it's the seventh. And so that means whenever church headquarters changes back to, New Jerusalem, the center place, Independence, Missouri, that will be the 8th of this dispensation. So I put all those on there. I put St. George because St. George has the oldest operating temple in the church. I also put Adamonte Amen. I put Palmyra, which is the area of the Sacred Grove, Washington, D.C., New York City, Rome, and Jerusalem. And so what happens is, here, I think you need to zoom out to 100%. So you first have this eclipse just a few months after President Nelson was born. This was January 24th, 1925. And this eclipse, which was a total eclipse, the path of totality went over New York City, Fayette, which is the first headquarters of the church, and the Sacred Grove. After that, 1933, Jerusalem had an annular eclipse on the 21st of August, 1933. And then after that, there's just not anything at all in any of these locations until you get to 1994. And in 1994, that was the year that President Benson passed away. In fact, he passed away 20 days after this eclipse. And then the day after, there was the Utah-Wyoming derecho, which is essentially hurricane force winds that are not the result of a hurricane that goes over land. Um, but there was eclipse 20 days before he died. It was an annular eclipse, so there was a path of annularity rather than a path of totality. This is where the moon is further away, and so you see the sun around the edge of the moon because it's further away in its orbit from the Earth. And the path of annularity went over Fayette, the Sacred Grove, Hiram, Ohio, Kirtland, Ohio, and Independence, Missouri. So it hit all those different locations. Okay, fast forward. In 2012, there was an annular eclipse that went over St. George. And then that brings us all the way to now, to 2017, where we had uh, a total eclipse that went over Independence, Far West, and Adirondack. And now, 2024, April 8th, another total eclipse that's going to go over Fayette. It's going to go over Palmyra, Hiram, and Kirtland. So, for whatever reason, President Nelson had an eclipse that went over Palmyra just a couple months after he was born. And now, and then there was one other eclipse, but it was an annular eclipse over Palmyra in 1994. And now, the next total eclipse happens while he's president of the church in his 7th year as president of the church, and he's in his 100th year of life. Come on, like that's so unlikely that would happen. And he's the prophet that talks the most about the second coming. Like, seriously. And then when you go forward in time, you don't really see anything else like this. You have like onesies and twosies. Here's one in the year 2093 that goes over 3 sites. Another one in 2111. Another one in 2154. Here's one that goes over 2 in 2178. So this is truly, as far as like these locations go, this is truly something special, what's happening right now between 2017 and 2023. There's no other time that's even like this except for 1994. 1994 was the transition between Ezra Taft Benson and Howard W. Hunter, and ultimately President Hinckley, because Howard W. Hunter was only for 9 months. And then 2017 was the year of transition and when I say year of transition, I just mean like the time frame of transitioning from President Monson to President Nelson in January of 2018. So it's not going to, a thing like this is not going to happen again, at least from now until 2199. There's nothing like it. So I feel like that by itself shows that something interesting is going on. Oh, there's a lot of no's. That's okay. I know you can't watch every single one of my videos, but I hope that blew your mind, because it blew my mind when I did it. I'm going to try and like look for some other church sites like Carthage. Carthage is right there by Nauvoo, but there's a possibility that maybe the path of totality or annularity will have gone over Nauvoo, but not Carthage. So I'm going to see if that's the case. And if there's any other locations that you think I should do, let me know. I'm going to have to go in just a minute here because we got something to do. I'm glad that people jumped on because the first part of this live stream was looking pretty sorry. I was about to stop. But right now we're at 44 people. Let me just read a few more things and then I got to go. Where did I, okay, there was Joni's thing and then Tactic Planner. Carrie Cottrell. The only thing I can think of that was big was the earthquake in Japan. I know there was like a lot of flooding in San Diego, but I don't know that it was like big enough to where I would consider it big. I think it was notable. It was definitely notable, but anyway, Carrie Cottrell, calm before the storm, perhaps. Yeah, maybe. Did I read Susan L's thing? It seems January is unusually quiet compared to last year. It makes me wonder what is coming. Yeah, and then Carrie says, calm before the storm, perhaps. Pamela McGregor likes my hat. Joni says, I really enjoy your channel because it gives me significant inspiration and insight, but I think I feel too insulted by following your own request to cite my source just to have you reject it. Goodbye. Oh, this isn't Joni. This is the other guy that keeps bringing up the thing. Sherry Johnson, hi from South Carolina. CO2MC number 26. Kilauea is expected to erupt again. Lots of earthquakes going on around the volcano there. And then I have all the no's. And then Luis Leonard, I'd put my money on the 7th if something were to happen around conference. Yeah. That's like another thing. It's interesting that the Sunday sessions are on the 7th. That's going to be President Nelson, his 40-year anniversary as an apostle. With President Oaks, it's actually a little bit later because even though they were called at the same time, they were ordained. It was spaced apart because President Oaks had to wrap up what he was doing with his career, with it, like cases that he was writing opinions for. Glenda Wheeler, yes. Heart, Sunflower, heart. Penny Tidwell, yes to spreadsheet. That was so enlightening. I had no idea about the 7 headquarters. I hadn't ever considered it before. Switching to New Jerusalem being the 8th, a new beginning. Yeah. Joyce, Joni, joyous genealogist. What's up with the joyous comment? What are they talking about? Don't worry about it. It's been a long thing with me and him. I don't want you to be mad if you're still watching, but I don't want to keep talking about us becoming heavenly mothers. That's not a correct doctrine. So, and like I said, I can't tell if you're trolling me. I can't tell, but I'm not interested in it, and I'm sorry about that. And it's not a doctrine of our church. I don't know what to tell you. Penny Tidwell, I reported that comment and it was removed. Oh, there was okay, whatever. Kylon Rick, to me, the biggest, most on-the-nose sign was the olive grove in Turkey that split during their earthquake. Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly. That was so big. I can't highlight that enough. That's so weird. I've never heard of an olive grove, an amount of olives anywhere splitting into 2, and it literally happened last year. Wasn't it in February of last year? I want to say it was in February. Olive Grove, Turkey. Yeah, like here's an article from February 15th. Oh, they're all from February 15th. So we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of that. I'm not saying that anything's going to happen. I'm not saying anything's going to happen on that day, but it's going to have been 1 year since that happened. Very strange. Penny Tidwell, I'm sure it was a troll. Ooh. Joni, thanks, Penny. It was a rude comment, and they stole my YouTube hand. Well, yeah, he was using a different one, which I'll just let it be. Phil and Molly waits. 2024 is going to be a good year to marvel. Oh, because of President Nelson's post with the 7 marvels. That'd be really cool if he was like doing like if there was like another layer to that, you know, he knows that it's going to be a marvelous year. Tactic Planner, I'm all about transitioning from President Nelson to the King of Israel and the King of Kings. Yep, I think we all are, including himself. Penny Tidwell, I thought it was you for a second, but then, okay, I'll skip. Tactic Planner, calm before the storm, and watching evil men and women fulfilling prophecies. DNC 84 to 88. Do you think that immigration is linked to the gathering of Israel? My heart has been softened to this recently. I think so. I obviously don't condone it. I don't condone breaking the law doing things illegally. That doesn't mean that I don't have a heart. I do want genuine people to have the best living circumstances possible. We live in a complicated world. We live in an imperfect world. I can understand people wanting to improve their lives. I'm also aware of the fact that there's politics at play. There's certain groups, parties, sides, political ideologies that want this to happen because it helps them out. There's also, security implications as well. People coming across that may actually pose a risk to our country. So it's not like I'm ignorant of that. But whenever there's something bad happening, I try and find if there's any silver lining or anything good that's coming of it. And so the good thing is for those genuine poor people, I do want them to have a better life. It's not the right way to do it, but I'm happy for them that they're escaping whatever hell they were living in before coming to the United States. And then also, I don't know if this is true. Oh, I gotta go, guys. I don't know if this is true, but it very well could bring people to the gospel. Like the gospel is in Central and South America, but maybe, some of them are going to have spiritual experiences when they come here, and who knows? So it's complicated. I try not to look at it in too black and white of a way, but just do what's within your control. Vote, be part of government, raise awareness in a peaceful, non-contentious way. Have good conversations rather than debates that don't go anywhere, and arguments with people that aren't going to change their mind. And just do whatever you can that's within your control. Okay. Well, I got to go. So thanks for joining. I really appreciate it. I appreciate all your comments. I will talk to you guys later.